In this short lecture, I will show you how you can save time and effort by utilizing simple steps that will enhance your debugging capabilities. We will see how you can control the debugger by managing the debugger execution context. Hi, my name is Alon Flies. I am the founder and the chief architect of CodeValue, the company that builds the Visual Studio debugging extension, OzCode. I am also a Microsoft Regional Director and a MVP. We founded CodeValue more than 5 years ago to provide highly professional software services and tools. We have expertise in many different fields, but our flagship is definitely OzCode. OzCode, as you will see soon, is our way to bring our debugging expertise to you. As veteran developers, we know how hard it is to find those nasty bugs, and how good tools and techniques can save time and money. Developers need to provide effort estimation for the development tasks they have. Usually we have good senses estimating the time it will take us to write the code. However, estimating how much time we need to solve a bug is something that is very hard to estimate, or shall I say guesstimate. Using tools such as OzCode enable productive debugging and let you gather those evidence that will help you at the beginning to provide a good effort estimation about the time you will need to solve the bug, as well as to help you fix the actual problem. In this slide, there are two ladies. The F10 lady debugs her code by stepping over and over, again and again, line by line, until she might get to the code execution context that will reveal the problem. The happy lady below controls the debugger. She knows how to set a conditional breakpoint that will stop the debuggy, the process that is being debugged, in the right execution context. She knows how to go back to the same execution context if she had stepped out from it. She has a better, happier life. So what is this execution context that I am talking about? Visual Studio can debug many different processes running on the local or remote machines simultaneously. Whenever one of the processes being debugged pauses on a debug event, Visual Studio shows you its current execution context. This is the time that you usually watch the current variable values, set or clear breakpoints, and gather evidence. Debug event can be any exception, including breakpoints and single step, new thread creation, and loading a library. When the debuggy pauses on the debug event, the current execution context is the debuggy process, the current thread, the current stack location, the function and the call change that leads to this function, and the current instruction pointer within that function that is on top of the stack. You can change the execution context without setting a new conditional breakpoint and running again. In the next demo, I will show you how you can do that with Visual Studio and OzCode. To show you how to control the execution context, I am going to use a demo that is installed when you install OzCode. You can find the demo under the App Data CodeValue Ltd OzCode. So I've already opened this demo in Visual Studio, and let's start it, and let's choose the 4C demo. As you can see, the debuggy stopped on this debug event, which is an inline debugger breakpoint. Now let's run. I will use OzCode to tell Visual Studio to run the code to this line. And let's look at the sum total, and we see that we have a problem. The sum total is infinity, and this is definitely a problem. We can see that in this code, in this line of code, we do the calculation. So for some reason, the end result of sum total is infinity. So I can put a breakpoint. I can even put a conditional breakpoint that tells Visual Studio to stop when the sum total becomes infinity. But what I will do is I will just take the execution context, I will move it to the line that initiates the sum total. And I will step over this line, and now the sum total is 0 again. And now I can check why the total will become infinite. But instead of going to the line that causes the problem, I will use OzCode and I will press this button. And here I can see the different values, and I see that I have a problems in the value, in the tenth value. So I can ask OzCode to run to this item, and OzCode will execute all the iteration until this point. And now we can see that result is actually infinity. So if we add infinity to sum total, we will get infinity. So we need to find out why we get this infinity. So again, instead of just stopping the debugger and setting breakpoints and run again, I will take the execution context and I will go to the line that I do the actual calculation. Now I know that the problem is when the value is the 10th value, so I can change the value to be 10, and this is the execution context that I want to be in. I want to be where the value is 10 in this line of code, and now I can ask OzCode to show me the results, and I see that I'm going to divide by 0, and division of double by 0 will cause the infinity result. So we saw that without stopping the debugging, without doing any step over, just by changing the current execution context and the variable values, I can find out what is the root cause of my bug. In this short lecture, we have seen how controlling the execution context using Visual Studio and OzCode can save time and make us happy.